Well, Sarah Jessica, how nice to be able to say to you, welcome to Texas.
Thank you.
Because always we meet in Los Angeles
or New
or
York.
Wherever,
Right.
New York.
I think I saw you not 2 or 3 months ago in New York.
For
right?
Ed Wood.
For Ed Wood, right. Yeah.
Yes.
It's nice to be here. Everybody's been very, very lovely, very hospitable.
At that time, I didn't know much about Miami Rhapsody. It was merely a title that you tossed out.
Yeah.
You're so modest. I didn't know you are the big star of the picture.
Well, you know. I was there to focus on Ed Wood, which was also a picture that I really was proud to be part of. So, you know, I didn't want to distract from, you know, the point that was to be made. So, but I'm very, very, very pleased to be part of this movie as well.
How long ago did you become associated with Miami Rhapsody?
Well, we actually, the whole movie was finished actually in July of '94, all the post-production work, and we finished shooting it a year ago. But Disney didn't really want to release it in all of the Christmas madness because it's a smaller feeling movie. So we've held off until now. So I've been involved with it and since, I guess, I've known that I was going to do it since July of last year. Or July, I'm sorry, of the previous year, July of '93. Is it possible? I guess it is. Yeah. So for quite a while.
The years do roll by.
They certainly do. But it's one of those associations you don't mind, you know, sticking around with for a while.
The thing that's so appealing about Miami Rhapsody, as I sat there and watched it, I thought, this is for all ages because you have the parents, they're having their problems. You have the young couples. I mean, then it even gets down to the children's children.
Yes, and there's a wonderful relationship with my grandmother as well, who's a very important influence on my character, someone who is very inspirational to my character and also is, ironically enough, a confidant, even though she is unable to speak. She suffered a stroke. But so it really is. And I think it's, you know, often you hear actors promoting movies and they say, oh, it appeals to all ages. But I really think that that applies for this movie. I think it really does. It's not exclusively made for Generation X or for adults or women. It's a really palatable movie on a lot of levels for a lot of people.
It deals with the subject of marriage.
Yes.
Marriage has always been a dilemma, I think. Well, I mean, you read back in history, you know, it's always been a dilemma. But maybe now it's even more of a dilemma, do you think?
Well, it sounds so funny since we've been promoting the movie, you know, people have asked me all these questions about marriage and you know, I mean, I have my own feelings about it, but I all of a sudden I feel like I should have terrific, you know, like philosophical answers about it, and yeah, it's a dilemma. I think it's, you know, I can only speak for my age group, really. I think that men are very confused my age about how women want to be treated, and women are uncertain exactly their role in relationships and in business and in home life, and I think that creates all sorts of other questions that already complicate an already very complicated issue. So it certainly, as far as I can tell, has not gotten easier. I just think that, as David says, we're a society that strives for perfection, and so it's very hard to enter into a marriage and allow flaws if you're at all a perfectionist, you know?
I wonder also if the fact that women now, almost all young women, are encouraged to have a career field. And I wonder if that isn't part of the dilemma or part of the new dilemma. Do I do the career, or do I do marriage, or do I try to mix the two?
Yeah, that's a real, I mean, that's the great, for me and for my close women friends, that is the question that we can speak on the phone every day, as I do with my closest friend, and the subject always ends up on this very particular issue. And it's we find that the two conflicting things for us are that we very much want careers, and we want to be independent, and we don't want to, you know, ever have to feel that we need a man to define us. On the other hand, we really like the idea of marriage and family, and would even be willing to give up our career, you know, temporarily or permanently to have families. We enjoy cooking and doing people's laundry, but these ideas conflict with one another just in terms of what we benefited from the work of the women's movement, you know, and I think we have a sense of guilt about feeling that we'd like to be homemakers, you know, that it's just recently that that's even looked on as noble, you know, or heroic in any way. So it's very hard to reconcile both those needs, and to know, like, to feel that it's okay to want both those things. You know, I'm not a particularly ambitious person, and I often feel that that's a negative, you know, that my generation is supposed to be aggressive and blindly ambitious and, you know, straight ahead like an ox, and, you know, so it's very hard. It's very hard. I don't know, I'm utterly confused.
Don't you think it's even harder for actors?
You mean the idea of relationships and all that, and career and mixing them, or?
The idea of relationships, marriage. Don't you think life is just more difficult in that way for actors?
Seems to be. Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard when it's a career that, you know, you're traveling a lot, you're away from people for long periods of time. There's a lot of inconsistency in terms of employment, which creates all sorts of insecurities. And, you know, actors aren't by nature anyway terrifically secure people. And so you come into a relationship with all these neuroses, and then the two neuroses are like, you know, each partner's neuroses are sort of like two magnets, you know, shoving at one another away, and it's hard, but, you know, people work in other fields in the world that are a lot more difficult and demanding than acting, that bring other problems into it. So I don't think that we suffer more than others. I just think we have a whole different set of problems, you know. And I don't think it's a great excuse to not be committed to somebody because you're an actor and it's too hard or something. No. Well, that's just me, though.
Have you ever been close to marriage?
No, not at all. Not that I'm, no, not that I'm at all aware of, no. Unless somebody was thinking of it and they didn't tell me about it.
Well, if Mark were here.
Maybe.
Okay. Since you are the star of this picture, do you feel more pressure about it being successful and about people going to see it?
I think I feel, I guess so. I mean, I'm very nervous. I really, you know, I really, really want people to respond well to the movie. I really want people to like my work, but I really want to be part of a movie that people like and are excited by and enthused about. And yes, I mean, I think for me it's obviously an important role in terms of the responsibility that I carry. But there's like, I try to be philosophical about it. There's nothing that I can do, and people are going to make up their minds regardless of how deeply I want them to like it and what a wonderful experience it was, and none of this really matters. So there's like no control I have. But yeah, I really want people to like it, and I want to have more opportunities like this. It's, you know, it's hard to, you know, every movie I've done, I feel like my standards have been raised, and I want to be able to meet those, and I don't want to have to compromise or sacrifice in one area or another. So yeah, I think it's important that people like my work and like the movie.
This movie, of course, will be compared, I think, to other romantic comedies of the past, and always people get back, even as far as the 30s and 40s. Are there any actresses of the 30s or 40s you're particularly fond of or were fond of?
Oh, there's lots. I don't really know. I'm not a terrific film history person, so I may be really wrong about eras and times, but I can tell you the actresses that I like, and you can tell me maybe from where they are, what era. But, well, I have a particular fondness for Deanna Durbin. I really, really, really love her. And Judy Holliday and Jean Harlow, I mean, Carol Lombard. I like women with humor and women that have joy, and I like sort of fun. I like Bette Davis when she gets to be sort of acerbic and, you know, sort of forceful but funny, and so yeah. But I also love Ingrid Bergman. So I mean, you know, I like great actresses. Actually, I guess that's sort of it.
Since you mentioned Deanna Durbin first, I have to ask you, is it the singing because you yourself are a singer?
You know, I don't know, because I don't really think of myself so much as a singer anymore, because it's not something that I get a real chance to work on, and so I don't think I'm really good at it anymore. But I just thought she was like completely charming. Like there's just something about her that I had never seen anything like her before when I first saw her in a movie. I just loved her, and she was sort of, there was an innocence about her, but I didn't feel that she was, you know, being taken advantage of in a way. Do you know what I mean? I didn't feel like somebody was abusing that. I don't know, it's sort of hard to articulate what I liked about it. But of course I loved when she sat down at the piano and started singing. I mean, it was fantastic. But I also loved her life. I mean, you know, she went off and had this full life and said, you know, this isn't the end all and be all. You know, there are other more important things in life than making movies, and I really like that a lot.
I will wish for you that sometime when you're in Paris, you will have a chance to meet her.
Oh God, I would love it. I would.
You have to
I'd
work
love
on
it.
that, Sarah.
I've been trying to find books about her and things, but it's hard, you know, because she's very private. So I don't know if she wants like a weird young actress knocking on her door going, "I love you," when you were young. You know, like nothing probably more insulting. It's like, you're the reason I left. You know.
I can't believe that.
But I would love to meet her. I would love to.
Well, if I ever have the opportunity to put in a word for you.
Oh, really do, please, yeah. Or at least tell her she's a big fan.
Okay. Sarah Jessica, again, it's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.
And to have a little more time to sit.
Yes. Well, I'm really, really happy to see you. We've been looking forward to this one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ooh, I finally got to talk about Deanna Durbin. No one's ever asked me who my favorite actresses.
Oh, I think that's just advertising on AMC, I believe it is, that you can get this whole set of Deanna Durbin.
Are you serious?
Yeah, a whole set of
really?
Deanna Durbin movies, and they say the only way you can get them is you ought to have somebody
I wonder
look
if I just
into
called
that.
AMC, and said, I hear you're advertising.
They run on AMC. If you could just talk about anything, it doesn't matter.
Oh, God. I don't know what to talk about.
Betty Davis, a favorite film that you can think of?
Dark Victory. And my favorite is All About Eve. I mean, I also like, what's the fellow's name who played the critic in that movie? Who was the, in the very beginning. Who is it?
Well, the character was
Yes. What's his name?
George.
Oh gosh, and I shouldn't be looking at you. Sorry. And I also actually recently saw two films that I really loved, which is Dodsworth and The Best Years of Our Lives, which was totally loved. And they show The Best Years of Our Lives on AMC all the time for some reason. I don't know, maybe it's, I don't know what reason, but there's a great actress in that who played opposite the man that was sent away because he was married. Do you know that film at all, or a little bit, kind of? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a leading man, and there's this young woman in it, and she was amazing. And she has, you know, they're pulled apart, and then the father's like, he's no good, and then, you know, she's like this, and it's great.
Okay, that should do it.
We'll go.
Well, David, welcome to Texas.
Thank you.
We have not met before, but